Hi everyone, Julia Watts here, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we're going to be doing a little video with fairy hug stamps, and we're going to be focusing on some roses. And I've got the Rosalie's Rose from the Flower Fairies collection, and I've also got Sleeping Rose, which is from the new Fairy Tale collection, so we're going to be using both of those. I also thought, I've got an idea in my head, so I thought I might as well film it. These are mini stencils from Creative Expressions, and it's the whole of the uppercase alphabet. And I do have some of these in the clearance section of my website actually. I had them for a while, and I just thought it might be really cool to use them. Obviously you can use your texture paste through them, you can mist through them, you can do all sorts of things. You can just use one letter as a monogram and add some other alphabet stamps to it if you wanted to make a name. But I thought what we'd do is use the letters R-O-S-E for rose. So we're going to make a long, kind of tall, slim size card, and this is, we're starting with 10.5 inches by 4 inches, and 4 inches is the actual size of the stencil. So we have a plan in my head, so I'm probably going to do this in stages. Obviously this is not going to fit in my stamping platform in its entirety, but let's just show you the plan. So we're going to just pop this in here for now. So the plan is to pop, let's make some space so you can see the whole length. A bit difficult in here, there we are. Okay, so where's my R? So we've got, I think the R is going to start about there, and then we can overlap it slightly. No. Yes, we need to go over a bit. Let's take the magnets now, we don't need the magnets in at the moment. R. So I need to plan the stamps because I want to stamp the Sleeping Rose and the Flower Fairy Rosalie's Rose first. So I think that's how we want it. So we've got a little bit of a gap on the right, a little bit of a gap on the left. Obviously the letter doesn't start until there. So then we're going to think about where we want our stamps. So I'm thinking, unfortunately Rosalie's facing that way. It would have been better if she was facing that way, but we can do it, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I've actually got some masks, and the masks will actually help me. Well, yes, I think that probably helped me with my positioning. So this is Rosalie's Rose, and this is a piece of Woodware masking sheet, and I'm thinking that she's going to come in, not to move anything, she's going to come in here. So we still want to see our letters, so we want to keep our letters nice and working, if that makes sense. And then I think that we'll have Rosalie's Rose perhaps leaning on the edge of the O there, and she's going to have Rosalie's Rose, Sleeping Rose, too many roses, she's going to be sleeping here. So Rosalie's going to come in and she's sneaking up, so because she doesn't want to disturb us. So I think that's the positioning that we're probably going to have, and we're going to bring in the roses around the edges as well, and obviously we're going to ink through at some point. But because I think I want to have these masked off and ink around. I think that's how we're going to do it. So obviously we're going to have to do these in 2 sections. Unless we change, this is longer this way. Bear with. Told you there was a plan, but I'm thinking on my feet. Let's have it so that, let's have it so that we're in here this way, and then I can do both of the stamps at the same time. Okay. So we'll have Rosalie's going to come in here. about there. It's only approximate, it just gives you some ideas, so it doesn't have to be exact. And then we're going to bring in the Sleeping Rose here. And the card I'm using is just some white stamping card, which will take my watercolours, which is nice. She's going to be in there like so, I think. Let's just check that she doesn't look silly. I do want to make sure she's lying down and not kind of sitting up. Okay, let's have a look at that. So all we're going to do now is pick up the stamps. Obviously my masking sheet stuck to it, so I need to peel that off. There we go. And then we can remove our stencils, which we're using in a little while, and we can use our magnets to make sure that this doesn't move. So we're in this corner, we're really butting up to make sure that it doesn't move. Lost a magnet somewhere. There it is. Check my stamp's going to be alright. We'll put another stamp in just for good measure. So I know I'm all a bit wonky, but it's trying to fit in something, you know, the big size piece of card in there. And we're going for Nocturne Versafine Clair. I'm going to give these a really good ink in. They are silhouette stamps, and you will find that Fairy Hug stamps are available on my website for shipping to UK addresses. And if anything is out of stock, just click that email when available button, and as soon as I get them back in, then you'll be notified by email. I do normally get an order at least once a month from Fairy Hugs. Right, so we're giving a really good ink in. You'll also find them, if you're watching from outside the UK, you'll find them at fairyhugs.com for worldwide shipping. Right, I think we're inked within an inch of their lives. Let's pull this down and give them a stamp. Just take your time, make sure that you've given that ink enough time to settle into the card. Give it a good press. We might have to go again because they are silhouette stamps, and you do want to make sure that you actually stamp them well. That's why we use a stamping platform, and that's why you just butt it into the corner, and then you're good to go again in case the stamp is a bit sticky and pulls the card up. Let's see where we're at. They're pretty good. Just a little bit of the princess needs stamping again, just there. Looks like I might have a cat hair there as well. Let me just get that off. They get everywhere. It's easier said than done. That's going to be the easiest way to get it off. Doesn't want to stamp that bit. That's better. Okay. So now we've got our two fairies nicely stamped. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give that ink a little bit of a time to dry a little bit, because the masks actually do stick better if they're not going onto wet ink. And of course, Versafine Clair, you can actually put your embossing powder on and stamp and emboss if you want to. And then I'm going to pop my masks on, and then we'll come back and go to the next stage. Okay, so my ink's dry and I've just been playing around with the stencils and figuring out where I want them, and I probably will end up chopping a little bit off here because we're actually further over to that side than I intended, I think. Anyway, let's see what happens. So obviously I'm going to do the R first, and I'm going to make life a little bit easier for myself and just pop some tape down. And I can remove these for now. I've got my masks on. So you can see I've cut them slightly inside. They don't have to be 100% perfect, but you just keep in the detail of the stamp. And I think we'll go for barn door. I think we'll go for red roses. So we're going to go for barn door. And I think what we'll also do is actually put, I'm probably likely to go over the edge a bit because I know what I'm like. I think we'll put a bit of tape there as well. And we go in with our blending sponges and a bit of barn door. Doesn't have to be particularly dark. If we do want to be able to see word R, and where the ink catches the edge, then it'll be a little bit darker there. Okay, so that's our R. And obviously the ink will just clean off the stencils fabulously. This is distress ink, by the way, not distress oxide. There's our R. Then we're going to go for the O. So we can see through the stencil, we can see exactly where it's going to go. So we're just going to have a little bit of a gap, and we can see that we've got the sleeping rose. Her head is just leaning on the edge of the O. I think when I actually ended up popping the stamps down, I think I might have been over further than I originally intended, but this is a first go at something. Sometimes the first go at something is not the best go, but it's all a learning curve and it's all good fun. And the thing is not to stress over it. I forgot actually, it's a good idea to stick a little bit of tape over the little eyelet hole there for your book ring, which does come with the stencils actually. You do get one. Look a bit harder just on the edge there. Okay, I'll do with that one. Oh, I didn't use this tape I took off. I'll try to remember this time. Let's just check that this is dark enough. Yeah, that's looking good. Looking really good. And then we got the S. It's always a good idea to check your spelling. Obviously you could spell anybody's name. This could be a name, or it could be obviously the name of the flower that we're looking at. This is one of the Crafts 2 blending brushes. I think I have some of these left on my website. I'll go for the S. So obviously we're losing the bottom of the S underneath the fairy there, which is fine because her name is behind her, a bit like the Hollywood sign. Yeah. So I'm keeping them at the top so that I know where that everything's going to be nice and straight. I think that's the spacing I want. Pop that over the hole. Ink through our final letter. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, looks good. Doesn't that look effective already? Very happy with that. So obviously we could just remove these masks and we could just use it, have it as is. But I think we're going to add other things to it. Now I have got also within the, let's see, yeah, here we go there. Sorry, within the Sleeping Rose stamp set, there are some roses as well. So we're going to put those underneath our Sleeping Rose and stamp those. Make sure that's right in the corner. And that's there. And we'll have that there. And where's our Sleeping Rose? It should be right here in front of me. Of course she is. And so this is her bed of roses, if you like. So let's have that coming underneath her, like so. Might put some more. Should we have them there? No, I think we'll have them right underneath her there. And I'm going to use, I think, Tulip Red. Versafine Clair. Check and see what I'm doing. Whenever you stamp over a mask, you need to give it a little bit of extra pressure on the edges of the mask. Like so. Oh, hit the camera, that's my thing that I do. I'm going to have to move it round the other way. So I'll put some more underneath her feet. So let's have it this way. Right into the corner. Magnets are sticking together. Ah, there we go. And we're going to use the acetate to actually protect, because obviously we've got ink on the stamp now, and we're going to protect I think that's going to go over the edge there. So I think, where are we going to? Okay, right. I'll show you a little trick. So we don't want to overlap our stamping. So I'll just ink it up first. And we'll take a piece of low tack tape. And we're going to go over that area there. And we're just going to stamp these roses here. So now we've got some roses underneath her. That. And then I also think that what I want to do is bring in some of the roses from this set as well. Now originally I was going to put this over here. In fact, I still might, or we can have it here. We can have it coming in that way. I think that one's going to be better there. I think we still might have that there. So I'm thinking that because I want to keep the letters as they are, I think we'll have the roses in the background, although that one might be all right there anyway. So let's stamp this one to begin with, because I have made some masks for the stencil as well, which is just a case of drawing on the inside of your stencil and then cutting out. See, if we have that one there like so, that's going to be absolutely fine as it is. I'm not sure if I've used this stamp before, so it might be a bit sticky. So, hang on, let me see what I need. Right, so I'll show you a little trick. Let's do it this way because we can do it this way. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to ink up with Tulip Red. There's two ways you can do it. You can actually just stamp with Tulip Red as is, or you can take a cotton bud and we can clean off the ink from where the leaves would be. So we're going to do the leaves second, and as we're going to do them second, the green ink would go over the top of the red anyway. That's into the corner. We probably would need to do these roses a second time because, as I said, this is a new stamp. That is stamped very, very nicely. I will just do it a second time because I can. That's a plain. We're near some of the kind of bases here. So now we're going to just get rid of that ink again. Doesn't have to be perfect because, like I say, the green ink's going to go over the top. Or you could do it the other way around. You can do the green first. Like so. Then we're going to go to Shady Lane. The little tiny ink pads are really good. The little tiny Versafines are really good for this. Now we're going to get rid of the green on the flower. And stamp the leaves. Oh, I've gone a bit too far down by the looks of it. I miss that bit. It's annoying. It is quite fiddly, but I do find it quite relaxing doing this. quite high enough on that one. Might as well do a little bit more. As long as you've got some ink on, it doesn't really matter whether it's red or green actually. Get rid of that tiny bit there. I hope you could see what I was doing there. I didn't check that you could see me. I'll do it again on the other side in a minute. Okay, so there's our rose with the two different colours on. Easy peasy. And then we need to figure out what I'm going to do on the other side. Once again, this is Rosalie's Rose from Fairy Hugs. So let's have a look. Let's move this around. Oh, it's sticking together. I do want something on this side, I know I do. But if I do, I'll tell you what we do, we will actually just mask off the R. So where's my R? Here's my R. So I've cut them all out and I've put them in bags with each one labelled. So if I do make any masks, I know which one's which. And I've not really bothered too much whether how I've actually just cut these out virtually on the line rather than inside the line. I do tend to keep all my carrier sheets, but I remembered the other day I've got the Mama Mate sticker book, so I could use that. Because you're drawing on the inside of the stencil, you actually are inside the line anyway, as it turns out. Just because you are. Because obviously the pen can't go in as close as your brush. Okay, that's near enough. And we've got the bit here. This is Woodware Masket Sheet, which is the one that what I've used for the stamp masks as well. So we go here, like so. Ink's probably a bit wet still. Here's the other bit. The carrier sheets are sticking to me. Get off. Okay. And we've got the pointy bit down the bottom like that. When I cut the E out, I've actually marked which one's the bottom one and which one's the top. I'll show you where's my E. Here's my E. So I've put a B because they're slightly different sizes, just to make life easier. Okay, look at that, doesn't want to stick. Right, let's figure out which way we're going to put this in. Let's put this in like, we're going to be off the edge anyway, aren't we? It's not going to be ideal at all. I can't butt it up against the edge if I'm coming off the edge with the stamp. Let's butt it right the way up to the side and up to that edge there. That'll work. I think. We'll soon find out. Right, where's my stamp? I'm going to be off the edge a little bit. Where's my... I'm going to use this now because I don't want to make a mess. My brain's thinking here, just about. They're great, these sheets, because they stop you making a mess of your stamping platform. I think we'll have that, and then that can be peeking through there, like so. Okay, let's just throw loads of magnets at it and hope for the best. Okay, so we're going to do the, moved it. It's a good start. Let's just check whether we're in the right place. Yeah, that looks okay. Right, so we're going to go for the tulip red on the main part of the roses. I'll tell you what we'll do. What we'll do is we will add a bit of masking, low tack tape. That's all we'll do. Just as a bit of an insurance policy. So we're going to tulip red first on the actual roses. And then we're going to clean off the red from the leaves, just with the cotton bud, and on the stems as well. I'll use just all one to begin with, and then I'll go over with the cleaner one. So obviously you're picking up quite a lot of ink here. Okay. And then we'll stamp. Now once again we're going over a masked area. So you want to make sure that you're pressing hard where the mask is. So it's not, we haven't got too, I mean it's not very deep, and we haven't got to worry about too much, because the masks are actually smaller than the inked area. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, I need to do a little bit more just there. That's fine. And a little bit more in that gap. Okay. I think we need more inking there, so we are going to go again with some more ink. Exactly the same thing. Some of it's where I've taken too much ink off. Again, you go with your cotton bud. Get rid of that ink off the leaf. So it's not so important when you're going to go green on top. Even if you don't get it perfect when you've finished, it doesn't really matter. It's just sometimes easier than you know, stamping with a lighter colour and then inking over the top, which you absolutely could. You could stamp with say Morning Mist, and then you could use your when the ink's dry, you could use your pencils over the top. So you can absolutely do that. paying attention where I needed to pay attention before. That's nice and rich now. Happy with that. Now we're going to go for our Shady line, which is for the leaves. And the stems. That. And now we're going to clean that green off of the flowers because we don't want the flowers to be green. Once again, don't worry too much. If there is a little bit on the flower, obviously it doesn't really doesn't matter. I pulled a bit too much off the stem there. Oh, I'll clean the leaf. I'll get a grip, Jim. I've got to start all over again on that bit. Oh dear. You've got to laugh at yourself, haven't you? Let's get another one. I don't actually think we need all of this. Actually, we do need quite a bit of that flower. Around here, it's quite close. Let's go with that. I need to ink that leaf up a bit more. Apologies for that noise, it's the wind through the windows. It's always a funny noise. It's either that or it's the cat snoring, and that time it's the windows rather than the cat. I don't know if we're over the mask. I think we are there. Right, so we've got a bit of a tension there. Right, I think we need to ink again. It's pretty good, but I think we can do a little bit better on that leaf there, definitely. Should be the final go. And get all the ink off the flower first. That one. Quite mucky, this cotton bud. Turn it round in a minute. Okay. A bit of final bits there. How are we doing down there? That's all right because that's not on there. You can do this with all sorts of flowers. Obviously, if you want a coloured flower, especially when you've got the silhouette stamps, it's quite a useful thing to do. I find it quite therapeutic, as I said. Right, let's go with this again. So we want a lot more ink on that bit of flower leaf there and there. That one wasn't too bad anyway. And that stem there is just on the edge of that mask, so we might not be able to do very much with that. If you've got some coloured Pigma Micron pens, you can also add a bit with that as well, if there's anything that's missing. The only thing I'm unhappy about is that bit of leaf there. So that is next to that one there. Alright, let's see if we can get that one in a bit better. That's better. I think we'll go with that. See, it's a little bit just about there. It's not so good. And that's just because I can't get it over the mask. So I think we're going to go for either one of my colouring pens or a Pigma Micron pen, just to put that in properly. Let's fetch this up here and we can actually see, get rid of the masks, and then we can see how things look. Be careful with your stamps. They are photopolymer stamps. They're made in the USA. They are very, very good quality, deeply etched. All the flower fairies have flowers and fairies, and sometimes they have a bug in there, or, you know, as in a butterfly or something like that, or a bee. Sometimes they have extra flowers. They all have at least one fairy and one flower, and I love the flower fairies. Let's take this out of here, get rid of that. Do a bit of a reveal. So let's take Rose, the sleeping Rose away. She's on her bed there. Like I say, I should be using my sticker book. If I knew where my journal sticker book would be, I would use it. But I always put it on the carrier sheet, and then I keep it in the back of the envelope with the stamp. So this will go in here, wherever I put my stamp, and then it's there when I need it. So let's take away R. Put that there for a minute. And up here. And this one. And then we can reveal Rosalie here. It's quite delicate. I think that's looking pretty fabulous at the moment. Obviously I'm going to trim that down and matte and layer it. I'm going to add some colour here as well. So I'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all finished. Okay, so I've added a little bit of colour to the two fairies, and I was debating, I didn't know whether I was going to add more colour to the roses, but then I elected to add some pink to the roses. Let's see if I can show you. So I just wasn't happy leaving them completely white. I mean, they're lovely white, but I just felt I wanted to add some. So I haven't actually stuck this down yet. So I've trimmed this to now 9 3/4 inches, and I've kept the 4 inches tall. And then I've got a mat that's 1/4 inch bigger all the way around in ebony, black ebony, I think it's called. Ebony black even, from Sentimentally Yours. And then this is the Imperial Red, which is actually a luster card, so it's got a bit of a shimmer to it, because I couldn't find my plain red card. I don't know where it's gone. But before I stick it together, I thought I'd show you how I add a little bit of glitter to the wings. So we're going to just glitter Rosalie's wings. So I've got some Stickles glitter glue here. This is actually ice Stickles, which is crystal ice. I've got lots of Stickles for sale on my website, but I just want to finish using up this one. So I'm just going to put some onto my mat. It lasts such a long time. So rather than apply it directly from the nozzle, what I'm going to do is just take a paintbrush and I'm just going to dab it onto the fairy wings. Then you've got more control about where it goes. You can also control how thick you have it too, and you can get into the points of the wings as well. So obviously this is going to take a little bit of time to dry. It won't be long because it's quite warm at the moment. And then I'll stick everything down just with some Sentimentally Yours PVA. So until it's dry, obviously you won't get the full sparkle. I've actually put far too much. There's a little bit of the wing just down there as well. Cat hair everywhere. Just dab it on, and then because it'll dry, well, the medium that it's in is clear anyway actually, but when it dries you'll be able to see the colour that we've got underneath and the detail in the wings. But obviously once you move it around, you've got that wonderful sparkle from the Stickles, but not overdoing it because we've just dabbed it on. Let's see, I put far too much out there. I'll just hold that up so you can see the sparkle. So that's it, all done. Obviously wash that out in water, which I'll do in a moment. So just to recap what we've used the Stencils from Creative Expressions. This is a set of 26 alphabet stencils, and you get the little book ring with them as well. Everything I've used you'll find on my website. And we've also used, what did we use? We used Barn Door Distress Ink through the stencil. And we also used a Crafts Artist blending brush to apply it. I don't have the low tack tape, that's one thing I don't have. We've used Rosalie's Rose, and we used some Woodware Masket sheets as well. You'll find those on my website. And we've also used, again from Fairy Hugs, we've used the Sleeping Rose stamp set as well. So as I said, you can find them on my website for shipping to UK addresses. The Fairy Hug stamps you'll also find from fairyhugs.com for shipping to, worldwide shipping. Do like and subscribe my YouTube channel and leave a comment on there as well. Be absolutely marvellous if you did that. And if you found this video useful, do share it with all of your friends. And on Facebook you'll find me at Julia Watts Crafts, and there's also a really good Facebook group called Fairy Hugs Store, where you can see all the inspiration from Fairy Hugs design team members on there as well. And if you are loving Fairy Hugs, do have a look in the workshop section of my website, because I am going to be running some workshops in July, September and November at the Maker's House in Fareham in Hampshire, which is where I live. And if you'd like to join us, that would be absolutely wonderful. And I just need to say thank you for watching.